Here is just something I found on the net that I would like to share. We have seen the belief in UFOs, aliens, and even alien abductions grow to a point that this country, no, the world now believes more in it than God. Between Star Trek, Star Wars, Aliens, It, C3K, and newer movies and TV shows like X-Files and Dark Skies, we are getting programmed more and more to believe the government is covering up the truth and aliens visit us and abduct us. Not true. Not aliens, but demons. What better lie could Satan facilitate on us than to get us out of our belief and into a fear, away from faith in God, and fear of some little gray being abducting us? When we know it is demons, this hurts Satan, because if there are demons, there are angels. If there is Satan, there is God. So, Satan needed a vehicle to remove his identity and those involved with him off center. What better lie than aliens? 30 years ago you would have been put away if you said you believed in UFOs, much less had been abducted. But today, it is accepted, the lie about aliens and abductions. More people today believe in aliens and UFOs than God. If it were not true, then more would be spent on God and His kingdom than on aliens and UFOs. You do not see the movie Matthew done from the Gospel Matthew as a blockbuster and TV series based on God. You don't see them getting the best time slots or having spin-offs of spin-offs. Okay, Touched by an Angel is the exception, but there is no mention of Jesus in any show. I am not knocking any of these shows, most of which I watch, but they are all, except Touched by an Angel, lies. To confuse us and program us. You don't think you are programmed by TV? Then turn it off, and see how long you can go. And if you can go for more than a week, notice what items you purchase or who you believe in. I bet you it is all based on what you have seen on TV. And the sad part is, people don't see this or believe it, and when they do, they say, "Oh, I can handle it." Do you really think advertisers would spend billions a year for such short spots, 30 to 60 seconds, if the ads did not work and get you to buy their product? And if a 30-60 second spot seen a few times will do this, what will 24-48 minutes series do to you? Read what Jesus said, Matthew 24:24, "For there shall arise false Christs, and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect." If it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. You and I are the elect, and could he, Jesus, have meant a belief in aliens and abductions? Isn't the belief in these things based on great wonders and signs? Have you noticed how early drawings of demons look so much like aliens today? Maybe it is not abductions, but demonic possessions. I leave you with this to think about. Are they aliens or demons that people are saying have abducted them? Are they UFOs or gateways to another dimension? Take into account that demons of the Crusade period and earlier look similar to the aliens that are now being reported. Remember, Paul said to I knew a man in Christ above 14 years ago, whether in the body, I cannot tell, or whether out of the body, I cannot tell, God knoweth. Such an one caught up to the third heaven. 2 Cor 12:2 KJV. The third heaven by this account is the heaven, and the first heaven is the sky we see with our eyes. It is supposed that the second heaven between our sky and the heaven is the place where Satan is located. In Revelation 10, "And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation, and strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night." 11 "And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death." 12 "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea! For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." Rev 12:10-12 KJV. Satan is cast down, not before Christ, not after Christ arose again, but after there were brethren Satan could accuse. So the second heaven being another dimension, and that being where Satan and the demons are, Then when they travel from that dimension into ours from above could appear as light, or imagine a door opening, the light shooting across the sky, stopping and then disappearing again. This could account for a lot of UFOs. Now think about it, does Satan want mankind to know he really exists? No, of course not, because if people knew he was real they would also know God was real also. So the best thing is to use another way to mess with us than actual demons and demon possessions. And what better than alien abductions and alien experiments and torture? Think about what Satan is after. He is after our souls and to cut us off from God. If we are in fear we are cut off from God. And think about the abductions. They are tortured, experimented on, and a lot of stories about reproduction. Now let's take the last first. Reproduction. 1. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, to that the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. General 6122 KJV. We know that by the account in Job that the sons of God refer to angels, or in this case fallen angels. 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. Job 1:6 KJV. 1. Again there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. Job 2:1 KJV. So if the sons of God fallen angels were marring daughters of man, then we would have a perversion, and that is part of what Satan is about and is an offenses to God. 3. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. For there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. 5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. 6. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. General 6326 KJV. Why else would God repent of mankind? What would have grieved him more than the two marring and perverting what he made? Think about it. Alien abductions fit the total makeup of Satan: torture, reproducing a perversion of man, and making people live in fear. But there is another reason this fits Satan. The more we believe in some alien race that is powerful enough to come here from great distances and do what they are doing, it causes a fear of them and a lack of belief of God. And when rapture happens, and it will, the best excuse Satan's puppet the Antichrist will have is that we all were abducted. And this will fit with the need of having the number of the beast implanted in man. He will be able to convince those left behind that if they receive the implant then they could be tracked and found and not totally disappear as the first batch did. Then when the second rapture happens, this will just push more to accept the mark. You do not believe in the rapture? Did you know there have been others already? 24. And Enoch walked with God and he was not, for God took him. General 524 KJV 11. And it came to pass, as they still went on, and talked, that, behold, there appeared a chariot of fire, and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder, and Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. 2 Kings 2:11 KJV. And what about the many who were dead and arose again? 52. And the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose. 53. And came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many. Matt 27:52-53 KJV. Remember, God did not have the Jews suffer under all the plagues Egypt suffer under. So why should we? Tribulation is a time of getting right with God. It is the last call, the last chance. First he removes those who were his own and then allows those left for the first 3.5 years to see what it is like with man ruling without God. So those who were on the fence will finally wake up and see that man without God is not the way. Then he removes them, and the last 3.5 years is the time where it is man with Satan in charge and not God, to see that Satan is not the way. And then a final rapture, and then the wrath of God falls on those remaining. 29 Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. At 24:29 KJV go and read Revelation and what all happens basically. It is described in the above verse. Think of tribulation as a time for God to get man's attention, like taking a 2x4 to a mule to get it to move. But the point is that the whole belief in aliens, UFOs and abductions is serving Satan. The belief of this has grown in the past 40 years at such a rate that is shocking.